Hello everybody. Welcome back to this series called Playing Every League of Legends Champion and Getting M10 with them based on their release date. Today we have none other than the Dark Child herself, Annie. As you can see, I have more than Mastery 10 with Annie. I played the shit out of her at one point. She was kind of one of my favorite champions to play. I played her mostly during Durability Update, which was actually when she was at her worst. But she's just kind of a very solid pick, like, all the time. That being said, she's a solid pick, but that doesn't mean she does anything good. Annie's biggest problem is the fact that 95% of the roster hard counters her. Her only good matchups are like 5. She has 5 good matchups. Yasuo, Yone, and any tank that somehow finds their way into mid lane. She will be outranged by everyone. Any other mage in the game ends up beating her. Annie can't compete with most of them. It's really funny. She gets, like, even assassins that she's supposed to counter, she doesn't have a lot of solutions to. Because her, like, lockdown is hidden behind her 4th ability. So if she doesn't have that ability up, she can't do anything. Like, she can't lock them down. She needs her 4th ability specifically to use crowd control. And no other mage has that problem. Lux has her crowd control on her Q. Syndra, I think, also has slightly conditional crowd control, but it's not nearly as bad as Annie does. Victor has it on an ability. Even Malzahart has some kind of crowd control ability, but Annie doesn't have a single designated crowd control ability. It's only her passive. And granted, her passive is super strong. That having a point and click Q that will literally chase a target down all the way to their fountain is super broken. Problem? It's not reliable. And that's the problem with Annie. She's literally hard countered by like 95% of the roster because it's like, oh, you need someone who has designated CC? Okay, go Lux. Go Seraphine. Go Syndra. Go Malzahart. At least your ultimate is a suppression. It has basically the same function as Annie's stun Q. Go, I'm trying to think of more mid laners that can go crowd control. Morgana, even though she was mostly support. Zyra, even though no one runs her mid anymore. Brand. Silas, Ari, how many more mages? Mel. Like, there's like every single mage in this game low-key just beats Annie because they have consistent crowd control where Annie does not. And I think another problem that Annie specifically suffers with is the fact that the game has aged and Annie has not. The game has gotten new updates, it's gotten new characterizations, new like ways to build and use characters, and Annie is still kind of stuck as just a simple Season 1 champion whose main identity is just bursting down the enemy. And while she's very reliable at that and is probably better at bursting down the enemy than Lux, Syndra, Brand, well, Brand is different because his ultimate. She's more reliable at bursting down the enemy than most other champions in the game. But the problem is that in exchange for that reliability, nothing else about her is reliable. Her wave clear is not reliable. Her roaming is super good, but her wave clear is not reliable. Her ability to 1v1 champions is not reliable, and Annie just gets hard countered by most of the roster, and that is the biggest problem Annie has. She gets very dependent on her positioning. If she doesn't have her stun up, she's basically useless in a team fight until she can poke around at the carry until she gets her stun back up. She feels super... I don't want to say she feels all or nothing because it's not entirely that, because compared to like an actual all or nothing champion like Lissandra or Alistar, who like once their full combo is used, they basically can't do anything. Annie can. She can still Q, she can still W, she can still E, or even R if she needs to, but it's not entirely reliable for her to do so, and I get outplayed here, I think, and I call them a jerk, and I was really pissed about this misplay. I get outplayed in a future coming up, and yeah, I get really pissed about this outplay. I knew I shouldn't have been there. I don't know what I was doing in hindsight, but I die. And then I type in chat and say jerk. Anyways. But literally just everything Everything Annie does, someone else does better. That's just the problem. Her roaming is good, I will say. Annie doesn't have, like, no pros. Her roaming is really good. She's probably got one of the more aggressive roams for a mage. Because Lux can't even compete with this. Like, if Lux is going to roam, she has to get really up close to hit a Q. Annie only needs to drop Tibbers and she can get a double kill. Lux has a lot more conditions to be met, but granted, Lux can do more damage early to compensate for that. Lissandra's roams are kind of the same thing. She all or nothings ults everybody and just hopes that someone dies. You got other champions like Galio, who can just... Well, Galio's not really a mage. Malzahar technically will never roam, but if he does, he has an ult suppression, so it's basically an Annie thing. He also shouldn't be roaming because he just takes turrets really fast. But it's just... Annie's roam is probably the best out of all of them, comparatively, just due to what she can provide. As you see, I roam pretty frequently with Annie, and I will pretty much sacrifice my lane if I have to, because I'd prefer to do that and get picks around the map than actually, like, sit and attempt to, like, just slog out a laning phase that I'm probably not going to win. So, that is the pro with Annie. She's good at roaming. Her wave clear is not that good, though. That's one of the biggest issues I have with Annie, is her wave clear is not that good. She doesn't clear waves for shit in the beginning. And it sucks because she gets outpushed by assassins. And that really frustrates me, like, the most. Because when I was playing Annie, I was like, okay, I'm supposed to shove an assassin's lane. I spend half my mana doing so. And this is with hitting every single minion with a Q. And somehow the assassin can outpush me? The assassins who are infamously known for their trash wave clear. Like, the #1 counter for assassins that you'll see on mobile Linux is, oh, hey, if you want to counter the assassin, shove their lane in whenever they roam. That way they miss turrets and other things. And I fucking hate myself here. And because I think that it was a good idea. Oh, I did Q him. Anyways. I misplay this really bad. I shouldn't have done this, but I was so stupid. Anyways. The #1 thing you're supposed to do with assassins is push their wave in. Yet, why are they coming back, shoving their lane super fucking hard, and I have to spend more resources shoving their lane than they do to push their lane back in? I hate it, and it's worse against mages. Oh my fucking god, it's so terrible against mages. Lux outpushes you, Syndra outpushes you, Malzahar outpushes everybody, so that doesn't fucking matter. Mel outpushes you, Orianna outpushes you, Victor outpushes you, Swain outpushes you. Even Galio outpushes you, Yasuo outpushes you, Katarina outpushes you. Actually, I think Katarina is the only champion that can't outpush you, because her wave clear is trash. Zoe, whose fucking Q is goddamn splash damage, outpushes you. The fucking ways that you lose to every champion in terms of the laning phase. The ways I was getting wins with Annie, because since she was a champion I already had M10 with, I made a rule that I was going to push. I was going to get 10 games in wins in ranked. The only way I was getting wins is by actually just saying, fuck my lane, I'm going somewhere else. Because there was nothing else I could do. Like, if I sit in lane, I quite literally will not win. Because I don't have the wave clear to contest half the champions. So I just bit the bullet and said, okay, I can't do this. So I'm not going to. And then I didn't. And then I managed to win a lot more than I was sitting in lane trying to push my stuff. And I had a coach, a plat coach, trying to give me advice. And he was like, bro, go to your lane, go push. And I'm like, dude, I can't. I can't push because what am I going to do? W? I'm not killing minions with this. As you can see fucking there. I didn't kill shit with my W. It sucks. It sucks so goddamn bad. Annie is genuinely, like, just a champion that I feel like the reason they can't buff her ratios is because if they do, they're going to overtune her and she's going to be too broken. But at the same time, she's not in a good state. I think the best way I can describe Annie is she's never a bad pick, but she's never a good one. There's always going to be a better option than Annie. But if you are first picking and you can't get someone to swap, just go Annie. Because you're probably going to have a bad matchup, but you're always going to have some kind of viability. I was basically just playing support mid laner Annie because that's all I really could do because I can't contest my fucking waves half the time. And stepping up's always so fucking risky because Annie's Q, she has to be in like a specific range. And again, it's a point and click. It's not like a ranged ability like Lux E, Malzahar W, Syndra, whatever the fuck she does. I'm forgetting so many mages. I know there's a shit ton of them in mid lane, but God, I can't for the life of me think. Brand W, it's not any of that. What she has is a fucking Q that just goes to a target and hurts them. But as you see here, Annie roaming is really fucking good. So yes, those have been my thoughts in terms of Annie and what kind of champion she is. Now, if I were to give Annie like an honest review, I'd say Annie is good, but she's never bad. Annie's bad, but she's never good. And should you play Annie? Yes. Because Annie will teach you one thing. She taught me mage itemizations. And on top of that, she also taught me how to roam and how to play from behind. If I can't contest my lane, if I'm just that far behind, then I'm not going to contest it. And you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to fucking leave. And I'm going to find a way to make plays and be more helpful on the rest of the map. Because I can't do it in my lane. She teaches you how to play from behind because she's always behind. Unless she gets super ahead of her lane. Which happens, in my opinion, very rarely that Annie will ever reach a threshold like that. I mean, your opponent has to really be misplaying to do it. Granted, you can. You can. I'm just saying I probably won't. But Annie will definitely teach you how to play from behind. So, with that being said, this has been Living with BPD. We have approached the end of the video. Thank you for watching, if any of you did. And I will see you all in the next one when we do Ashe.